Hey, there it is. I'll figure out how to work this thing one of these days. All right, so this is going to be pretty quick because, as it turns out, I got a whole bunch of stuff that I got to do today that I hadn't originally planned on when I decided to do the live stream today. But here we are, and it is what it is, and we deal with it. Actually, one of the things that gets talked about a lot in the, especially with the Mises Caucus type stuff and from a lot of the post-libertarian type stuff, is being involved locally. That politics is effectively a zero-sum game as far as the national level is concerned, and I totally agree with that. That's the national politics is a complete shit show and a total waste of anybody and everybody's time. Like, with the sole exception of basically going like scorched earth type of campaigning to try to undermine both of the other parties and really try to spread a message. You're not winning at the national level, and even at the state level it's tough. But local level politics is something that you can actually win at and have success with. And over this past weekend, I got to participate in sitting at a table, a booth, running our county Libertarian Party's little booth at the local Riverfest, which was a lot of fun. And I got to talk to, a small handful of people. It's a small town, so it's not like there's hundreds of thousands of people that would be coming through anyway. But I got to talk to a handful of people about libertarianism and the ideas of the Libertarian Party, especially like the principles and the concepts and that kind of stuff. And so what kind of kills me that I think gets overlooked from some of the post-libertarian ideas and stuff like that is that, and that this is all just a big waste of time, and that people know what the Libertarian Party is about and they don't want it. To some extent, yes, but when you dig down into like local communities like this, there were probably a dozen people who just came up to ask me, what is the Libertarian Party? They have no idea. Like, there are in local rural areas, there are a lot of people that have no idea what the Libertarian Party is or what any of this is even about. They don't know what the platform is. And when you start to talk to them and explain to them like what we believe in as our principles and our ideals, they realize that that's stuff that they're really behind, but they never knew anything about it. So, out of the maybe dozen or so people that I talked to, at least a handful of those took like brochures and literature and had a lot of questions and said they were going to check it out and look more into it. Like, if the ideas are getting out there, then that's good. Like, we can't just completely dismiss politics as a useless thing, because obviously if utilized properly, it is of benefit. But with all that being said, the reason I got busier than I intended to today is I've got to take the tent back that we used for our booth, and I've got some other unexpected errands that I've got to run today. So it's been I'm going to pre-record a couple interviews, so I'll have content for next week. But the following week might get a little sketchy. I'm actually starting a new job on Monday. Hooray! But while I'll ultimately go on night shift with that job for the first couple of weeks, I'll be training on day shift. So my schedule is going to be all kinds of jacked up, including my sleep schedule, which is pretty royally fucked anyway. So we'll see how all that goes. But the title of today's episode is Tax No One. And obviously that's a pretty milquetoast libertarian idea that taxation is theft, yada, yada, yada. And that's not what I'm not even going to talk about taxes and tax code and the insanity of all of that. The Met Gala was all the rage this week from both sides of the argument, whether you are in favor of taxes or opposed to them, because AOC had her lovely tax the rich dress. The irony is, and it's been pointed out, it's not like I'm saying anything that's not well known, I hope. The irony is that she was at an event that cost $30,000 to $35,000 per ticket. Only the rich and most elite are invited to this event, or get a chance to be there, wearing a dress that probably cost more than the ticket. Her entry fee to get into this, between the dress and the ticket, would probably more than, actually, statistically speaking, she had more invested in that one night than I think 70% of households will earn for the entire year. I mean, think of how insane that is. And the really crazy thing about the tax the rich idea and the eat the rich and all this stuff about going after the rich, and that they don't pay their fair share and blah, 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 blah. The people who are always pushing this, the people who are always promoting this, the ones who want to tax the rich, they tend to be the fucking rich. And this is, like, AOC is always touted as one of the poorest members of Congress. And just on its face, okay, like, she's poor and she has all this student debt, supposedly. Her net annual income still puts her in the top 17% of earners. Like, and this is not individual earners. This is top 17% of household incomes in the country. She alone, as just a congresswoman, if nothing else was included in that, is in the top 17% of all families, household incomes in this country. And that doesn't take into account any of the perks or the benefit. I mean, I guarantee you, she didn't pay a fucking dime for that ticket to get to the Met Gala or for that dress. Multi-family annual income invested in this one night, and not a dime came of that came out of her pocket. And that is wealth and privilege, like most of us will never know or understand. Like, my wife and I make good money combined. We are fairly well off. I could never, ever dream of dropping that kind of money on a one-night event. That would bankrupt me. But she's, and one of the poorest members of Congress is out there just hooking it up and having a blast, like not a care in the world. Joe Biden, I think when they were reporting like annual incomes and and all that stuff and the amount of taxes that they paid, somebody correct me, because I've probably got this number screwed up, but I'm almost positive that when they did reported their tax returns and stuff last year during the election and everything, that Joe Biden had paid $5 million in taxes. Paid $5 million. Not Joe Biden made $5 million. Joe Biden paid in $5 million in taxes. How much money did he make for the year that he owed that much in taxes? Like, that was the insane thing to me, was when you looked at that, they were all talking about Trump's tax returns. Everybody's talking about Trump's tax returns. The more concerning thing to me is when the politicians are releasing their tax returns and they are paying 7 figures in taxes as public servants. What? And like, if you know how much they make, like even the most senior, if they're sitting on all these different like councils or boards or whatever, like they're maxing out, like government salary, they're maxing out in the $250,000 to $300,000 a year range, which is fucking insane in and of itself. I mean, that puts them in the top, 9% of household earners, just by that alone. So tax the rich, tax the fucking rich. That's all of Washington, D.C. They are the elite. And what's really fucking insane is that they have conned all these average dumbasses into thinking that they actually represent anybody, that they're actually your people. And look at the fall of Rome. Like, that's what we have. The political class is its own form of elite. It's its own form of upper echelon part of society. They have all the money. They have all the power. They have all the influence. That's where it is. And then they prance out here in a fucking $50,000 dress at a $30,000 event to say tax the rich. Motherfucker, tax yourself. They should have full-time jobs. They should have to work for a living, because what they do, how often, I looked it up one time, and I've lost the numbers because I wasn't prepared to go into that part of it. Like, the amount of time that they actually spend in Washington, like in session, actually serving the people, it's infinitesimally low. Like, that is not a high majority of the time that they spend. Most of their time is spent in like bullshit meetings to make sure that the people who are actually lining their pockets off the books are getting their way. Speaking events, and they get paid for these speaking events that have absolutely nothing to do with public service, have absolutely nothing to do with policy, have absolutely nothing to do with what they're supposed to have been elected and hired and responsible for doing. They're getting paid to do these book tours and speaking events and jerk themselves off to, moron crowds who are just slobbering all over themselves to see these people talk about tax the rich, while they are the fucking rich. That's who they are. That's what they are. When their annual tax bill is 7 fucking figures, and I said I wasn't going to talk about it, but goddamn, if you understand the way the tax code works, especially once you get to that level, like, if they are actually paying in 7 figures in taxes, they're raking in $10 to $20 million as public servants. Like, where the fuck is all that money coming from? Because they're not getting paid all of that for speaking events. They're not, did Joe Biden write a book that I missed? A coloring book, maybe? But, so where is all this money coming from? Like, nobody wants to look at that. Nobody, especially none of the tax the rich fucking morons. They don't want to look at that. They don't want to think about that. They don't want to know that their benevolent overlords are the fucking rich. That if the first fucking person that you should tax is those motherfuckers. Like, take 70% of their fucking income right off the top. Take it, and see how they feel about it. See how they feel. See how their tune changes on tax the rich. Because the rich are always immune to all of that bullshit. That's the way the system is written up and drawn up and works. When they say tax the rich, what they actually mean is murder the middle class. That's where it hits. It's going to hit me. It's going to hit probably you, because the rich aren't actually going to pay that tax. They're going to work the loopholes, but they're going to use that increased tax as the excuse for why they have to charge you more for the goods and the services that they provide through their businesses. And this is all like basic economics, but that's the problem, is that they don't teach basic economics. They don't teach fucking anything. A glossed over view of history and how to do Common Core math how to not do math in a logical fashion. What else do they teach? I can sincerely say that while I loved my English classes, I don't use any of that. Teach people how to read and write effectively. And that's it. That's it. Like, you need to know how to not sound like a dumbass when you write something. And even in this day and age, I mean, the whole reason I started doing this is because I could write something well researched, well thought out, beautifully worded, perfect. Nobody looks at it. Why does nobody look at it? Because people don't fucking read anymore, as unfortunate as that is. There are, not nobody, but the average person doesn't read. They watch YouTube videos. Like, if I want to see how to do something, I want an instruction manual that I can look at a diagram and I can read it and I can find out what I'm doing and apply it. If you look up instructions on how to do literally anything these days, it's going to take you to 17 YouTube videos. And if you do happen to find an actual Word document that lays it out and explains it, it's usually somebody that didn't know what they were talking about. Like, user manuals have gone out the window. People just people literally throw them out as soon as they get them. People don't read anymore. But like, basic education should teach you how to do math the right way, how to read and write and not come across like a dumbass. It should teach you at least some brief reality of what has happened through history. Not the glossed over through rose-colored lenses look at history that we get, but some of the actual dirty, nasty parts of history and the way that the country was actually founded and the way that the Civil War actually went and the reasoning for World War I and World War II and how that all is connected. And you should learn about tax code because that shit's important, because there's a reason that, the two constants in life are death and taxes. And even after death, you're still going to pay more taxes. Instead, none of this good common sense stuff, none of the stuff that's actually important to life is taught in schools. And so we end up with fucking morons like AOC, who supposedly has $50,000 in student debt, was a goddamn bartender, and now she's prancing around at the fucking Met Gala with a $50,000 dress on that says "Tax the Rich." Bitch, you are the rich. Hope everybody has a good day. I'm going to go run a bunch of errands. And if you are waiting on content from Lions of Liberty, Break the Cycle, Buck Johnson, The Paradox, Always Andy's Mom, Peddling Fiction, you're going to have to wait until later this afternoon because I got way too much shit to do this morning. It's I would anticipate it'll probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of 2-3 o'clock this afternoon before I really get to sit down and start pumping out content. So if you're watching this, I apologize for the late delay or for the late release of all of everybody's content. That's life. Shit happens. And otherwise, hope everybody has a great day. I'll be back Monday with Craig Smolt of Break the Bell podcast. So I'm really looking forward to that conversation. And then next Wednesday will be Adam Patrick of You're Talking Over Me. So next week's a big week. Hope everybody, if you actually watch this, you're probably going to watch those anyway. So it's not like I'm selling this a whole lot. But if you like what I do, tell other people. Let them know. Or just fucking tell me. Like, if you are one of the roughly 8 to 12 people who watch and listen to this regularly, say something to me. Like, I want to know who you are. I have these mystery viewers that never actually say anything. So let me know who you are if you're watching, so that I can come up with some ideas for what to talk about and kind of mold it to what my extremely small audience is actually interested in. Hope everyone has a great day, and I will see you next week. Or you'll see me next week. Whatever. Hopefully I'll see you sometime.